Today on Commander Replay, we check out this Morophon Elementals list, and we'll find out what happens when we slam Vigor into an army of tokens. Next on Commander Replay. Hey everyone, if you like high quality oolong tea, check out this website, Cha Ceremony. Marcus sent me a few samples, and his tea is fantastic, with Zhaozong now being my single favorite tea. So check out Cha Ceremony, link is in the description below. Welcome back everyone, playing some Morophon the Boundless Elemental Tribal today. Today's deck list comes to us from GoFundMe supporter Joshua. Take a look at this opening hand. We've got 2 lands and a Soul Ring. Card draw? Yeah, okay. I think we can make this work. A little bit weird for non-creatures because of Primal Beyond and Cavern of Souls, but I think we can make... Ooh. It can be tough to get that Elemental Bond in. We're going to have to hope for a land. I think it's okay. How many lands are in this deck? 37 lands. Good chances we can draw a land. So today I'm playing the deck with some changes that I've made to it. I actually played this deck one time already, but the audio got a little bit messed up, so I'm not going to show that video. So having gone through the experience of already playing it, I noticed it was missing a few things, namely some hard removal. So I added a bit more removal to the deck, especially board wipes. I felt like it was a little bit soft in that department, so brought it up to about like 4 or so board wipes, added a Winggrace's Judgment as some flexible removal, so just to make sure that we can take care of problems as they arise, because I noticed that was kind of an issue. Added a little bit of punch for the late game too, added a mob rule and added a Rise of the Dark Realms, get stuff back, kind of steal everything from our opponents and kind of create an opening to take at least one player out of the game. So added some nice things there, and also importantly cut down the 5 converted mana cost slot just a bit, just so that this deck doesn't kind of choke on its own clunkiness. Anyway, that brings it to our turn 1. There's the Verdant Catacombs. That is perfect. That's going to get us the green mana. The green mana is good. Crack this Verdant Catacombs. Definitely going to get something with some green in it, but we don't actually know what other color we need yet. It's a little bit weird. So I guess take a peek at the deck. What color do we have the most of next? It's definitely not black. Looks like 7 red cards. Maybe about 4 white cards, 5 white cards. There's a triple red in there. That should be fun. Yeah, I think I'm on red then. Although... Yeah, I guess I'm on red. Get a Taiga. Thinking about, like, what if we draw into Rhystic Study? And I'm like, well, we'll just have to cross that bridge when we come to it. Get the Soul Ring in and tap it out and pass. Just because we have the Soul Ring, I don't think that's going to put us off to a super fast start. It'll help a bit, but I don't think this is going to be the most damaging Soul Ring. I think it's just going to allow us to get Elemental Bond before Animar, although as I'm thinking about it, that actually doesn't do that much. Power 3 or greater. Animar does not come in with Power 3 or greater, so, it helps, but not going to be the craziest Soul Ring ever. Yawgmoth opponent does get a Skull Clamp on their first turn, by the way. Pretty good card right there. A card that I think has gained a lot of value with the change to the Commander Death rule. I'm pretty sure you just kind of jam this in every deck now. Like, if you want your Commander in play, and you think anyone's going to play a board wipe for any reason, you put a Skull Clamp in your deck. Means that it's probably also good. I mean, I know that, like, going to the shop and trading people isn't so much of a thing right now, but if that ever comes back in style, I think grabbing a few of those out of binders, hopefully before they get crazy expensive, because I think these will start to tick up. I mean, there's a lot of printings of it, I guess. I don't know for sure, but I personally am going to try to pick up a few of these out of trade binders. If I have the opportunity to trade with anyone, which I'm not sure that I will, so, take that advice for what it's worth. I'm planning on doing it, so it might be a good idea, or it'll fail miserably. One of the two. Anyway, brings it back to our turn. Opponent did drop down a Genesis Chamber before they passed. That's a pretty crazy card. I guess with that, we play the Primal Beyond. Reveal... We need to reveal anything? We don't need to reveal anything. I'm gonna reveal this Animar just because I don't get to play Primal Beyond very much. So it'll come in untapped, and then we will play the Elemental Bond. For those that are not familiar with Primal Beyond, it's out of Morningtide. Enters the battlefield. You may reveal an elemental card from your hand. If you do, it comes in untapped. Adds a colorless, or you can tap to add 1 mana of any color. Spend this only to cast an elemental spell or activate an ability of an elemental. So 5 color land for elementals with some conditions similar to a lot of other lands that we've seen like that. And like I said, we are playing Morophon the Boundless today. 7 mana colorless commander. It's a 6/6, has Changeling, which means it is every creature type. As it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Spells of the chosen type cost Wooburg less to cast, does not reduce colorless mana, and other creatures of the chosen type get +1/+1. So this is the whatever tribe you want commander in the command zone. Pretty cool card. I like that they designed this. I kind of wish it was maybe just one less mana. 7 is really expensive. If like you want to lead on Morophon, getting Morophon in quickly is kind of hard to do. Phyrexian Arena coming in for opponent, but I do think that, like, maybe subtract 1 power from it and cut 1 from the casting cost. I know the Wooburg thing can be really powerful with Fist of Suns and Joda, which are in this deck, but yeah, I don't know. 7 is a lot. 7 is a lot to get it into play, and it's kind of a big target and all that stuff, so that is what it is. So also an Arcane Signet in for the Skyfire Kirin opponent, and then Phyrexian Arena for the Yawgmoth. And that'll bring it back to our turn. There's a Volcanic Island. It's going to help with some of the other colors of mana. That is good news. Actually, we can get the Thrix into play. Play the Volcanic Island. So we can go Thrix and get a card draw, which is probably what I'm on. Or we can go Animar first and start trying to get counters on Animar. I think I'm on the Thrix plan. Also, we've got Vigor in hand, which will also put counters on Animar. So I don't think we need to be super worried about that. Let's go for the Thrix. I'm excited about the card draw. I just want to look at a couple extra lands and things like that. Get us a Genesis Chamber trigger. So now we've got a 1/1 mirror token. And we get to draw with the Elemental Bond. Excellent. We draw another land. Perfect. Want to keep those land drops coming. So we'll be on 6 mana next turn. We could go for a Vigor if we have triple green. We can get triple green next turn. That is a thing that we can do. Could also think about the Asceticism if we wanted. Try and protect our things a bit more. So, yeah, we've got a few options. Let's take a look at what our opponents are playing today. First up, we have Hammerbaggers piloting Shalai, Voice of Plenty. Interesting little card. Surprised it doesn't show up more than it does, because it's pretty good. It's a 4-mana 3/4 flyer. It says, you, planeswalkers you control, and other creatures you control have hexproof. That's a lot of protection. That turns off spot removal, that turns off Aetherflux Reservoir, turns off a lot of stuff. And then, if you've got some extra mana, you can put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Also a pretty good ability, especially if you're doing any sort of go-wide stuff. Opponents got themselves a Conclave Mentor and a 1/1 Mirror token, so they've got some things that they can pump up with Shalai if the game does get to that point. Not sure what they're up to specifically, though. With Shalai, I think the biggest direction it pushes you in is probably tokens, but it's not that you need to play tokens with it. You can kind of do some other stuff too, but green-white tends to be a lot of tokens, just a lot of creatures. Do cool stuff with creatures is kind of the green-white motto. While I was talking, a long-forgotten Gohei comes into play. Arcane spells cost 1 less, and spirit creatures get +1/+1. Pretty good when you're playing a spirit deck, some sort of Kamigawa deck. All good stuff. And that does bring us to Pauper R. Bust piloting Skyfire Kirin. It is a 4-mana 3/3 flying. Whenever they cast a spirit or arcane spell, they may gain control of target creature with that spell's converted mana cost until end of turn. Pretty cool little commander. We've seen this deck in the past once or twice. It can do a few things. I forget what those things are, but being able to essentially get threatens off of each of your spells is pretty good. You can do some stuff with that. And can be really disruptive. If they get a sack outlet, then you're not getting the thing back that they borrow. So yeah, there's some fun things that can be done with Skyfire. And then finally, we've got CD White piloting Yawgmoth, Thran Physician. They said they watered it down just a little bit before the game, took out some of the combos. That'll be good, because Yawgmoth can combo pretty easily. That's not really the game that we're playing today. This is going to be a very casual to mid-power kind of game. Not expecting too much combo, but we do have some powerful stuff like Zendikar Resurgent, Rise of the Dark Realms, kind of big finishers, but this deck can get a little value-y. There are some value engines in there, but I don't think it's not racing to try to assemble them, so. Opponent does get themselves a Pitiless Plunderer. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. That can start a bit of an engine for them, especially with a Skull Clamp lying around. Oh, yeah, and the Mirror token. I see some things happening over there. I wouldn't mind a bit of removal. That would be pretty good. But that does bring it back to our turn. We draw a Maelstrom Wanderer. With that, let's drop in the Cavern of Souls, choose Elemental, and I guess we just play the Vigor. Keep the card draw coming. Maybe we can find some removal. Can't be countered. Gotta love that Thrix ability. That'll trigger the Elemental Bond and the Genesis Chamber. Yep. We draw a Voice of Resurgence. Cool card, although I'm not entirely convinced that it needs to be in the deck. It's definitely a sweet elemental, but I think its home is probably a little bit more in Modern than Commander so much. The last time I saw it, it didn't scale so well into the Commander game, but we'll see how it plays this time. I say we send a little poke over to the Yawgmoth opponent, see if they want to block with the Mirror. If they do, Vigor's going to trigger, and Vigor's pretty cool. I can't see a world where this Voice of Resurgence is going to help with Animar next turn, though. That could be kind of cool. Ooh, you know what we can do next turn? Actually, no, it's going to be 2 green. Well, I think it's still going to be pretty good. We could go like Animar, or actually we could go Morophon, and then get Animar for free, and then we would need a green to also be able to cast Voice of Resurgence. And I don't foresee that working itself out, but on the off chance that it does, someone Path Exiles one of our creatures or something, that could happen. Elementals are a really cool tribe, and they do have a lot of really cool stuff. I've been wanting to build a Horde of Notions Elemental deck for a very long time. Risen Reef really kind of takes Elementals to the next level. Risen Reef is a very good card, especially in an Elementals deck. Speaking of good cards, Smothering Tithe coming in for the Shalai opponent. Yeah, that's also a thing that probably needs to get blown up. Where's that Windgrace's Judgment at? Let's see if we can find that thing. Here comes Skyfire Kirin into play. Yep, getting their commander going. Triggers the Genesis Chamber. Smothering Tithe trigger on us. I'm not paying. We draw into a Yarok. Yarok's kind of interesting. Doesn't impact anything in our hand necessarily, but Maelstrom Wanderer is also interesting. Let's get the Windswept Heath into play. I think this will put us on 7 lands. That'll be exactly 7. So crack the Windswept Heath. What do we need? Do we have triple red yet? We do have triple red. There's a Strip Mine in play, though, that could lock us out of triple red at some point. We wouldn't be able to cast like a Demonic Tutor, so I'm thinking maybe getting something with some black in it just to be safe. Yeah, I think Bayou is the option right here. Oh, hey now. Thrix gives us cost reduction of 1, which I definitely missed. So we will be able to get both of those things into play for free, which is pretty cool. Maybe even this Yarok. Okay. Choose Elemental right here. That'll trigger Elemental Bond and the Genesis Chamber. Yeah, opponent's going to get a lot of treasure tokens out of us. That's a thing that's going to happen. We draw land. Lands are good. Not paying. Play Animar for free! Gotta love free creatures. Triggers the Genesis Chamber. Play the Voice of Resurgence. Triggers the Animar. Oh! Opponent's going to flash in a Dictate of Erebos. Well, this will get interesting. So we're not attacking their direction. We draw again. It's a land. Smothering Tithe will trigger. So the question is, do opponents have board wipes? The mono black deck probably does. At least it should. The white deck probably should have some board wipes also. They've got a ton of mana, so they'll be able to cast them if they do. The question is, how much do we want to overcommit into a board wipe? Because I think we can still cast this Yarok. Yes, we can. Well, let's just keep going. If nothing else, we'll draw the card. At least I guess we can work our way towards the Rise of the Dark Realms. Oop, that's a Bane of Progress. That's a pretty good card. Not paying. Oh, hey, we get to draw 2 off the Yarok. Sweet. There's the Demonic Tutor. Fantastic. Just double check, make sure there's nothing else we can cast. That one will cost 2. That one costs 2. Yeah, I think we've done everything we can right here. So let's go to combat. I'm going to send the Vigor into Skyfire and these 2 Mirror and the Thrix into Hammer. Really want no part of that Dictate of Erebos. Opponent's going to block our Mirror with their Mirror, but our Vigor is still in play. There's an Elspeth, so that's going to clean up a lot of our board. Yep, I thought something like that might happen. Any way to make our things smaller? Not that I'm seeing. Yep, Elspeth going to destroy all creatures power 4 or greater. We lose quite a bit. Vigor will reshuffle itself. We are left with the Mirror tokens. Those are nice. And Voice of Resurgence, the only one to make it out alive. So opponent stopping us from running away with the game, because if we got one more turn, I think things would have got pretty wild. Animar was starting to get some counters on it, and, you know, that was a thing that we had to force them to have it, and I know it's early in the game, people still have a lot of cards in hand, there's also a black deck at the table, so if the white deck didn't play it, the black deck's probably got a tutor somewhere. They can draw a bunch of cards with Skull Clamp and Phyrexian Arena and all that stuff, but you know, we had to force them to have it. They had to take actions to get rid of our board. And like I said, we added some graveyard stuff in here. We can get that stuff back. 3 creatures in our graveyard currently. That's Yarok, Animar, and Thrix. Vigor shuffled itself, which was a big part of what we had going on. And then Morophon goes back to the command zone, obviously. Opponent follows up with a Juniper Order Ranger. Interesting card. Used to be part of a combo with, like, what, Murder's Redcap or something like that? There was some infinite combo with it back in the day. Forget what it was. Oh, I know. I think opponent said they're doing a +1/+1 counter theme with Shalai, so totally makes sense given that setting. Here comes a Desperate Ritual for the red opponent. Yep. Oh, that's an Atali. You want a card's pretty good? Atali. These artifacts, those are artifacts, by the way, so if there's a million things on board, Bane of Progress will be huge. I know Pauper said he's a little behind in the game, hasn't been making his land drops. Yeah, he's missed 3 lands now, so, as dangerous as Atali is, I'm probably not going to use this Demonic Tutor to try and deal with the Atali. If someone else wants to, that's fine, but I probably won't be. Opponent's going to animate dead on our Animar. That's interesting. Trying to get some cost reduction for themselves, potentially. I think we have to play Bane of Progress on our turn. I mean, we're going to lose our card draw source, which isn't the best, but, there's a lot. So we got Smothering Tithe, Dictate, Phyrexian Arena, Genesis Chamber, Skull Clamp. 3 of those are, must-remove cards, so, yeah. Probably going to be looking at the Bane of Progress. We need to sacrifice a creature. Let's get rid of one of these mirrors. Opponent's kind of getting an engine of their own going over there. Plunderer makes a treasure. Yep. We can shut off a lot of nonsense with Bane of Progress. Here comes Thran into play. Yep. Genesis Chamber trigger. That's not infinite, is it? No. It's still really good, though. Opponent puts a Skull Clamp on their commander. We draw into a Mirari's Wake. That'll help with the mana after this board wipe. Smothering Tithe is going to trigger. Yep. Not paying. Let's get actually hold off on the lands. Let's just go straight to combat. Want to take down this Elspeth just to make sure it's not hanging out. Ooh, if we blow up the mirror, Pauper's going to lose his Atali. Well, sorry, Pauper. Send an attack like that. Got a bunch going into the Elspeth. Yeah, I think it has to be the Bane of Progress right here. Play the Arid Mesa. Crack the Arid Mesa. We do need something with some white in it, so let's get Tundra. Cast the Bane of Progress. Opponent's going to start sacking stuff to draw, and that's going to trigger Dictate a bunch of times, and we have to start sacking stuff now. Opponent's going to gain some life from the Conclave Mentor dying. Smothering Tithe will trigger. Oh, right, opponent drew with the Yawgmoth. Opponent's going to Entomb. Entomb's never good. We're going to get a trigger off the Voice of Resurgence. All right. Voice of Resurgence makes a 6/6. I'm down for that. Triggers the Elemental Bond. We get another land. Triggers the Smothering Tithe. Not paying. We could pay. Doesn't matter. It's going to get swept away in the Bane of Progress. But I think when all the mirror get blown up, that's probably going to get rid of everything on the board. There are 2 mirror left. Pitiless Plunderer, Dictate trigger. Opponent sacrifices another mirror. Targeting our Voice of Resurgence. Yep, that's going to go down. Sacrifice another mirror. Voice of Resurgence goes down to Yawgmoth triggers. Opponent sacrifices all of their treasures as to not make Bane of Progress huge. But it's still going to be pretty big. Though it was probably getting near one-hit lethal territory as there's currently 9 mana on the stack. That is... Getting hit by that would be a giant chunk of your life, but... Oh, we draw a Nyxbloom Mansion. That's a pretty ridiculous card. Not paying. Actually, we could pay. No, still no need to pay. Bane of Progress still on the stack. We got to make another 5/5. We may get out of this with a 5/5 or 2. We'll see how it goes. Opponent sacrifices another creature, another Dictate trigger. Gotta sacrifice a mirror. Opponent makes another treasure token. And that's why we are blowing up this Bane of Progress, because the stuff they have going on over there is super problematic. Skull Clamp's gotta go. Chamber's gotta go. Arena's gotta go. Dictate has definitely gotta go. Bane of Progress comes in. Genesis Chamber triggers. All the artifacts and enchantments about to get blown up. Down they go. So getting rid of all this powerful stuff that the mono black player had going. Getting rid of the Smothering Tithe. Unfortunately, getting rid of some of Pauper's stuff, who kind of needed a little bit of help over there. Feel bad for blowing up his mana enablers. It's going to be a pretty rough go for him now. We didn't have to sack. We made it out with some elementals, so that's pretty cool. And we've got a 14/14 Bane of Progress. Bane of Progress, pretty good. And Offensive coming into play, sure. Pure Imaginative Rascal, yep, pretty sweet card. Triggers the Anafenza. Partners, but does not have Toothy based on colors. Opponent will get the Bolster 1. Opponent's going to hit Skyfire with the Partner With trigger, just to give them the shuffle, because they haven't been drawing any lands. Yeah, Partner With, if you feel like you need a shuffle. It'll give you a shuffle. There's a Wheel of Fortune for opponent. Well, we're going to lose a bunch of cool things. This should get them some lands and some ramp, though. It's a card that they've been needing. So it looks like the shuffle helped him out. Almost positive our hand's going to get worse. It's okay. We lost some gas, though. Definitely lost gas. Urza's Incubator's pretty cool, though. Got a little bit of protection and removal to fairies and swords. Omnath is pretty sweet. Opponent got rid of some really powerful stuff, too, losing both the doubler and the tripler. Where's the tripler? The tripler. Yeah, that wheel got us pretty good, because we were kind of set up to just, play a few more lands, cast this Demonic Tutor, go find Rise of the Dark Realms, do that whole thing. And now we're not going to be able to do that so easily. Kind of shut down the good value-y pieces that we had. Maelstrom Wanderer, also great for finding your way into more stuff. I can see us like playing out some stuff this turn and then kind of maybe falling a little bit short on gas. Although, I guess this Thicket Crasher is going to give trample to the Bane of Progress, which is a pretty big deal. Ooh, nice. We got a Yawgmoth's Will out of the hand of the black opponent. That's good stuff. Final Parting, Endrixar. Yeah, those are all good cards. I think they're going to have to be the target. They definitely look like they're playing the most powerful deck at the table. So assuming we make it back to our turn with our stuff, I think that's where we're going. It's a Bloodghast. Bloodghast is cool. Opponent sacrifices the Bloodghast, gets treasure with the Pitiless Plunderer. Ooh, Liliana Dreadhorde General. Not my favorite card. Let's see what mode they go with. They can make a zombie or they can make each player sack 2. Being that we have 3 creatures, I don't know if they're on the sack 2 mode right here unless they can get Bloodghast back. Giving up Pitiless and their commander seems pretty rough for them. Oh, plays a Carrion Feeder. Okay, let's see what they want to do now. Oh, we'll draw 2 whenever a creature dies. Gonna go for the each player sacrifices 2. Okie dokie. I'm gonna sacrifice these 2 elementals right here. Definitely want this Bane of Progress to stick. I'm just gonna draw a bunch of cards. Gets a treasure. But at least Pitiless Plunderer is down. Has been enabling them just a little bit too much. Oh man, we need a piece of mana ramp off the top. If we can get some mana ramp off the top, I think we can get both Omnath and Thicket Crasher and then do some really good work. The other way to go about it would be to burn the swords, but I'm not in love with that. There's a Savannah. Okay. Not the mana ramp we were hoping for, though. So, double check this. If we played a land, that'll put us on 7 lands, I think. Yeah, that'll put us on 7. We play the Urza's Incubator for 3. This will cost 2 mana. And then we'll be left with 2 mana. Yeah, that's one short of the Omnath. So I think it's probably more important to go Omnath first, get rid of the Liliana. But then we can't really trample in. I guess, I mean, we can force them to block with their commander. They still have 6 cards in hand, which is kind of a problem. Let's play this Savannah. Get the Urza's Incubator. Choose Elemental. Yeah, I'm going to go for Omnath right here. Let's double check this. Whenever a land and... Oh, God, I played the land out of order. Wait. Enters battlefield, deals damage to any target. Equals the number of elementals. Okay, yeah, that's the one. That's the one that I need. So let's go... Okay, so yeah, we're okay. The land thing won't matter until we have 8 lands, which should be the next one, hopefully. So use the trigger from Omnath to shoot the Liliana down. And yeah, I mean, I think we just have to send this Bane of Progress at the Yawgmoth because that is a super strong commander. And they've shown that they're playing strong cards. Like, their deck doesn't seem to be that watered down. So they got the really good mono black stuff in there. So we got to send 14 their way. They can either block or take the damage. We'll see what they want to do. Ooh, taking the damage. I am all about that. And best of all, we've got the swords up. So if we see anything that resembles a combo, we can shoot it with the swords. Even then, I might just shoot it at the end step anyway. We know they've got Bloodghast, so that's already some value that they can get. Prefer not to have my stuff shot, and they'll have to spend the turn tapping out to, like, recast their commander if they want to do that, so I'm liking that play all the way around. Kodama's Reach for the green-white opponent. Yeah, those are good. Shalai coming into play. Yep. Conjurer's Closet for the Kirin opponent. Cool. Does that allow them to, like, keep the stuff that they steal from you? It's interesting. Oops, I accidentally passed without shooting the thing. Well, we'll see if we can kind of catch them in the middle of a play. That should, like, disrupt their train of thought pretty significantly. Though they can't sacrifice their commander for mana. Meh. Ooh, sacrifices it anyway. Doesn't look like we're going to have to use the swords right here. Oh, that's a Decree of Pain. Okie dokie. Yeah, I was afraid of something like that. Now we're going to be running low on cards. This was kind of our big piece right here. It's unfortunate. We had to get rid of the Liliana. Like, that needed to happen. Having to do that means just the way that we went about it, we didn't leave up the Teferi's Protection. We could have gone swords, shoot the commander, and then leave up Teferi's Protection mana, and maybe that's what we should have done. Opponent's up to 9 cards. Yeah. They are ready to outvalue us big time. Here comes Bloodghast back to the battlefield. It could be worth swordsing that. I don't know. Here comes a Leaden Mirror. Because with Phyrexian Tower, that Bloodghast gets pretty good. We probably also need to keep them off the combo pieces. Like if they try to recast their commander, that's going to be a big deal. So maybe we hold that up. Vigor's back. Vigor is cool. How much is our commander right now? Still 7. Because of the Urza's Incubator. That being the case, I think we play the Unclaimed Territory. Choosing Elemental. Cast our commander and then leave up the swords. Choosing Elemental. Just take a little peek. Vigor will cost 1 green. That's pretty cheap. Just take a peek at the Thicket Crasher. One colorless, we could get it, but I want to hold up the Savannah for the swords. Hopefully we can untap with Morophon. Hopefully the mono black player doesn't do too much damage to what we're trying to do, and then we can get Vigor, Thicket Crasher. We need to find another card draw piece. We need to kind of power our way into more cards. Kind of run low on those now. Doubling Season coming in for opponent. That's a pretty good one. It is a +1/+1 counters deck, so I guess it's not... Hopefully no Planeswalkers. Hopefully no Planeswalkers. There's a Planeswalker. Basri Ket. Comes in with 6, it can ultimate immediately. You get an emblem with, which they do, you get an emblem with, at the beginning of combat on your turn, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token, then put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. That's pretty good. As good as that is, and that is good. Oh, they'll get 2. They'll get 2 and it'll be 2 counters? Oh, that's going to pile up quickly. We still have Trample, and Vigor can make things large, which will be good. So we have some way through that. It won't be easy and it won't be comfortable, but it's not just game ending yet. Yeah, oh man, so they get 2 1/1s, which both get 2 counters on them because of the doubling season. So those are 3 3s that will pile up quickly. Without the Bane of Progress being huge and in play still, that's going to be a pretty big deal. So we're going to need to find a lot of size. You know, if like we get this Vigor down and opponent wanted the Blasphemous Act for us, that would be probably helpful on that front. But we do have a Blasphemous Act in our own deck, which, you know, if we get a couple creatures into play, I would Blasphemous Act with Vigor in play to make our stuff huge, give up the Vigor, and try to get a lethal swing in on someone. Conjurer's Closet on the Kirin, but nothing doing. Anyway, so I filmed part of the wrap-up where I talked about changes to the deck before I filmed this game. Like I said, I have played this deck one time already and kind of had a feel for what needed to happen. This is the situation in the game where I like Horde of Notions better than I like Morophon in the command zone. Because now we're getting a little bit light on cards. You know, we'll probably cast these 2 creatures, and then after that, it's kind of like, then what? Cards are pretty light. If we had Horde of Notions in the command zone, and we untap with, you know, decent number of lands like this, now we're getting back stuff out of our graveyard, and that's pretty good. As cool as Morophon is, and it is very cool, I think I like what Horde of Notions does for an elemental deck just a little bit better. That graveyard ability is so powerful. Here comes Yawgmoth back to play. Opponent sacrifices the Bloodghast. Necroskitter on the stack. Wither. Whenever a creature an opponent controls with a minus counter on it dies, you may return that card to the battlefield under your control. You know, I'm just not feeling that. Yeah, let's shoot his commander. This will really run up the mana cost pretty good. That was 6 right there. This will make it 8. Plus their sack land is down. It is tapped. I'm just not wanting any part of the Yawgmoth game here. We need some haste in the deck. Maelstrom Wanderer's in the graveyard. A little more haste. Maybe that Teamer Ascendancy, not amazing for the draw, but the haste half of it might be reasonable. Maybe that's a reason to add it to the deck. If we had haste with that big team we had earlier, it's going to be pretty serious. It'll draw less cards overall than Elemental Bond, but something to think about. Something to think about. Do we have the, what's the red-green one that everyone plays? We do not. Rhythm of the Wild. Rhythm of the Wild is a great haste card. Opponent plays land, gets back the Bloodghast. Yep. Necroskitter does have Wither, but it only does 1 damage, so I think actually that'll get prevented. And yeah, that'll work out. Charcoal Diamond for opponent. Okay. A little more ramp. Yeah, they're doing well. They've hit all their lands. Now they've got another mana piece. They've got the Altar Bloodghast thing going on. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Big draw for us. Come on, big draw. Card draw would be good. Value would be good. Rise of the Dark Realms would be great. Actually, I don't think we have a second black source for Rise of the Dark Realms yet. So we'll need to work on that. We will need to work on that. That's a Cavalier Flame. Cavalier Flame is very interesting. Allows us to cycle cards, but does not allow us to actually draw more cards. So like Vigor is good. Thicket Crasher is good. And we've got a few Lancing Graveyards. If it does die, it's going to be a problem for our opponents. Get the Stomping Ground in, untapped. Let's get Vigor. I think we can get Cavalier for double red. That seems pretty good. Can we try and take opponent out? Let's do this math. So that's 1 green. This is red. That's 1. So that's 2 green, red. 6 mana to get both of these into play. So it would take 6 mana. That would leave us with 3 lands, which would give us the option of either Teferi's Protection, or Haste and Trample, and just try and take Yawgmoth out of the game, but leave our board exposed. How much damage is this actually going to be? That's 6. That's 6. That's 6. That's 18. That's 20, and then the +1. Yeah, I think I'm on that plan. I think I'm on the try and take him out of the game right here. Okay, let's go. Let us go. Opponents are tapped out also, so this should work. Let's get the Cavalier because it has very restrictive mana. Unfortunately, not going to be able to cycle anything. Like I said, these cards too valuable. Actually, let's do this math. That's 13 damage right there. Plus this would be 17. 18 after the Anthem effect. We'll activate one time. Get the Thicket Crasher into play. Opponent has 5 toughness that they can block with. So we would need to do 20 damage to take them out. This is 13 plus 5 is 8, plus the Cavalier ability would be 21, and I think that allows us to hold up the Teferi's Protection. So we hold back on the Vigor, but hold up Teferi's Protection. I like that plan. Okay. Activate the Cavalier, and let's see. That's 15 plus 6 is 21. This should be exactsies. Actually, no. I think it'll give us 1 extra. So send all of this to the Yawgmoth player. Opponent's gonna block 1. This should do it, though. 1 will trample over. Down they go, -1. Wow. I'm glad I saw that line by holding back the Vigor to now be able to hold up to fairies. So they were definitely our biggest threat. A lot of powerful cards in that deck, a lot of removal. They have cleaned out our creatures a number of times on us. And you always just got to watch out for that combo potential with Yawgmoth. It draws a lot of cards. It can shoot a lot of things. Probably does a few too many things off of the commander. So, yeah, taking them out. Definitely going to be more conducive to us trying to win this game. This token emblem thing, though, is going to be no joke. So, doubling season with Bastry is going to be pretty serious. Here comes Shalai back to play. And they don't have the mana yet, but pretty soon, I mean, even just doing this now is going to give them +2 on each creature. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Plus the fact they're going to get 2 more creatures. They're casting another creature. Here's Bastry's Lieutenant. A card that Kristen's really hot on, and I need to give a look. So it's got a lot of abilities on it. It's got Vigilance, Protection from Multicolored. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. That's going to be their Shalai. Shalai getting bigger. When it or another creature you control dies, if they had counters on them, create a 2/2 Knight creature token with Vigilance. Yeah, that's a lot of abilities. So it gives you something when it comes in. It's got some keywords. It gives you creatures in the event of a board wipe. That's nice board wipe protection. That's doing a lot of stuff. And that makes 2 tokens because of the doubling season. That's all really good. Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, now that we've given Shalai a chance to get back in it, they're doing some stuff, and we're going to have to work to get through them. Vigor should help a lot, but it's not just going to end the game, I don't think. Mob Rule would, though. Mob Rule would be super sweet. Yeah, opponent gets 2 more 3/3s. It's a lot going on over there. Oh my god, that's Volcanic Offering. Turn off auto yields. We can choose. Opponent allows us to choose a land that they don't control. Let's go for the Savannah. Opponent chooses the Shalai. Wow, we can choose... actually, no, we can't choose another creature. We can only choose the Shalai. But none of our stuff got hit, so we don't have to use the Teferi's Protection right there. So opponent really kind of scared of the Shalai opponent. I was prepared to use the Teferi's Protection to protect a creature. A land I might let go. Yeah, opponent's got... they get 2 more knights out of it. That's pretty good. Pretty good. Pauper going to swing in the air. Yeah, sending 3 their way. Pauper's pretty out of it, but there is some chance they catch a big spell off the top, a Mob Rule, an Insurrection, and are able to make a big play with something like that. Other than that, I don't love their chances too much. They could wipe the board, theoretically, at least until this Vigor comes down. But, yeah, it just depends. If they've got like a steal all your creatures and attack with them kind of thing, that's probably their best bet. There's a Merciless Eviction. You know, we may need that. That may be a thing that has to happen at some point. We'll see. See how this goes with Vigor right here. Hopefully everything goes the way we want it to. Definitely need to leave up some white mana. There's a green. Here's a green. Use this Cavern. Looks like we can only activate Cavalier 1 time and hold up to fairies, so not going to be able to just pump a million into it. Vigor, notably, does not protect itself, so I'm not going to want to send that one anywhere. We'll just hold it back. But I'm sure they definitely wish they held that Volcanic Offering for 1 more turn until the Vigor. So, slam our creatures into the green-white player. We do have Trample, but they've also just got a lot of stuff. Opponent trying to figure out their blocks. Opponent try to set up some like double blocks. I think they're forgetting about the Vigor ability. Just leave that the way it is. Activate the Cavalier one time. Make sure we leave open white mana. So we'll get +1/+0 in haste. Trample over for a little bit. Trample over for a little more. And trample over for a bit more. Opponent takes 10. Loses a few creatures. Basari's Lieutenant's going to trigger a few times. Yep, they get 2 knights back on the deal. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. More or less getting their creatures right back, and 2 more. So they get 4 2/2s back. It's pretty legit. It's pretty legit. Yeah, Kristen was talking about this card. She was really hot on it when it came out. And I'm like, yeah, does a lot of stuff. Problem is that, like, 4 mana is super crowded now, so you have a lot of choices to make about what you want to be running, when you're talking about creatures. So you do want to have a lot of synergy. I think this card is perfect for the deck that opponent's playing. So makes tokens, gives things counters, all great stuff. But yeah, it's a good form of board wipe protection. I mean, they just blocked. Yeah, they lost some life, but they got their creatures right back. So, they are set up to put an attack back on us. We've got this Teferis, but that's only going to protect us for 1 turn, which may be enough, but, just suppose we didn't have it. Things could go terribly wrong. Here comes Shalai back to play for the, 3rd time? Opponent just spent quite a bit of mana on it. Giving themselves hexproof. Oh, our team does get bigger, by the way. So Cavalier's now a 13-12. Morophon's an 8-8. And this is a 6-5. So getting a bit more juice. But opponent's got more bodies in play, too. See how they want to handle attacks? Well, these all have vigilance, so they're definitely coming in. Those are huge. That's actually, like, lethal. So I think we are forced into the Teferi's protection. And then we're either going to have to, like, win the game, or we'll at least take them out, or think about the Merciless Eviction. Little math right here. So those are 4/4s. That's going to be 16 plus 14 more is 30. Is that 30? Yeah, that's more than we have. So I guess that makes it Teferi's protection time. Opponent got by the Prot. That's Ugin the Ineffable. Doubling season's probably got to go. Yep, going for the doubling season. On board with that call. Vanquisher's Banner for the Skyfire opponent. So they've got a little bit of stuff going now. They're still short on lands. I mean, they're behind, but down to 1 card in hand, that might be a little bit rough for them. But if they can find something just to, like, if they can get a creature for this Vanquisher's Banner, they chose Spirit, obviously. Opponent attacking into the Shalai. Shalai does have flying, so they're going to lose their commander right here. Well, decides to go no blocks. Opponent down to 15. Conjurer's Closet trigger. Nothing doing. Land is not what I was looking for. Play this land. Crack this land. Get, what did I say we need? We need double black? Yeah, we need double black for the, Yawgmoth. Get the Overgrown Tomb tapped, I guess. Actually, let's get it untapped just in case we got to pump. Spend everything pumping the Cavalier. Let's just do some math. Opponent's got 16 toughness right there, plus 6 more is 22, plus 8 more is 30, plus 6 is, they have 36 toughness. Plus 15. What is that? Is that 51 damage that we need to do to them? So this is 21 plus 6 is 27. Prefer to not have to send in the Vigor, but we might have to. 27. Oh, what did I say? 50? Oh, yeah, we're so far away from 50. So that would be plus 3, 21, 27. So that would be plus 3 is 30, plus 3 more is 33, plus 3 more is 36, plus 3 more is 39. Yeah, so we got to send in the Vigor. The Vigor is 7 more. Make sure that we have enough with everything. Let's see now. So that's 20, plus that is 34. If we send everything, that'll be plus 4. It'll be 38. 4 again. 42, 46, 50, 54. Think it's going to be just about enough. Protection for multicolor, does that matter? We have no multicolor. Excellent. Yep, so I think it's turn everything sideways. Hope we have enough red mana to do all this. 1 red. That can't cast red mana. That can make red mana, that can make red mana, that can make red mana. I hope we have enough, so let's see. 2, 3, 4. We're 1 short. Ooh. Ooh. Check all our abilities. See what we got. All right, so what if we can only do this 4 times? That's 20, 34, plus 4, 50. What did I say we need to do? 51? Tell me they're going to be at 1. We can get this Cavalier to die somehow. Kind of tough with the Vigor in play, though. Double check opponent's toughness. There's 16 plus 6 is 22. 30, 36. 36 plus 15. Get my calculator out just to be safe. Confirmed is 51 versus the 50 damage that we will have. Oh, man. Although, actually, so if we do that, though, that will kill all of their creatures. Okay. That works. Send everything. Although we might be able to get them if they don't block the right way. Potentially. They have to block with every single thing. I feel like this is a good time for math is for blockers, although we just spent several minutes doing math. They left one. I think this is going to do it. We might lose vigor in the yeah, we're probably going to lose vigor. No, actually, maybe not. Activate this thing as many times as we can. Activate Cavalier. Double check, make sure we can't do that. Nope, we cannot do that. Activate Cavalier. Activate Cavalier. And do one more time. Activate Cavalier once again. So, this is why this card is so powerful in the late game. Gonna get some trample coming over. Gonna get some trample. Gonna get some trample. But yeah, this is why Cavalier is so powerful in the late game. You just have a bunch of red mana. You can pump into it and make your team huge. That's a really big deal. Opponent goes down, -7. Yeah, they needed to block with everything. Because if they block their last creature at 8 toughness, and if they block with it, then they survive at 1. But, you know, they would still, they'd still keep making more tokens, have a chance to play a board wipe, do all that stuff. We're on our last licks right here, so, like, although I guess if, depending on the board wipe, if it's not Exile, Cavalier would get him with the trigger, but from that life total. Let's see what Skyfire Kirin's got for us. Any sort of insurrection type thing, and it's probably good night for us. There's a Malignus. Uh-oh. Actually, I foresee a problem. I think we're going to lose right here. Yeah, so they play this Malignus, they steal the Cavalier, and then we just die to the Cavalier and team. Yeah, I knew something like this could happen, but I don't know. What are our choices? If we Merciless Eviction, this game probably goes a million more turns. I'm not really into that. Really, I just wanted to slam into the tokens. I knew we had Trample, I knew we had Vigor. That made slamming into the tokens really satisfying. So, are we going to pay the price for it right here? Absolutely. Yep, easy lethal coming back in at us. It'd be like 30. -6 we go! Good game to Pauper. Just hanging in there, waiting for the game to, waiting for everyone else to kill each other, waiting for us to really kill everyone. That's kind of what happened. And then just swoop in at the last second and take us down. Land on top for us, Smothering Tide. Not really what we needed. So, I've talked about it a bunch of times in this video. Morophon's really cool. I like what Horde of Notions does better. That ability to get stuff back is so good. Because if we could have dug stuff from our graveyard, we had so many good creatures in our graveyard that I think the game would have been over pretty easily. We could have Bane of Progress again, Maelstrom Wanderer for haste. What else do we have in there? Thrix is flying, just all kinds of good stuff. That's my personal preference of, you know, just I like Horde of Notions. I think it's a really cool card, but other than that, surprisingly, we didn't see any of the new cards this game as far as I could tell. Looks like we saw all of the original cards in the deck. But I think what's also notable too is that like we didn't draw into things that we didn't want, aka the cards that I cut. Because as much as you want to draw good things, you also don't want to draw things you don't need. So we drew pretty well in this game. We had the early Soul Ring, and that definitely got us going a little bit quicker than we should have been. But the Yawgmoth opponent was pretty serious. They had, 9 cards in hand at one point toward the end of their cycle there, and they were going to have a lot to do. We blew up their engine one time, and they were starting to reassemble it. So you got to be careful with a deck like that, so we took them out. The tokens deck was really cool. Getting that emblem off was super sweet. Got to see some cards that I haven't really seen a lot of with Basri's Lieutenant and Basri itself. And yeah, those were sweet, especially with the doubling season. You know, we almost didn't get through that. And then, you know, as a result of getting through that, also just lost to the Skyfire opponent because we had to spend all of our mana and all of our damage trying to plow through the token army that we couldn't really send anything towards Skyfire. I guess there was a turn we could have sent the Vigor their way, but they were also helping us a lot by just focusing the tokens, so it didn't feel right to just to give us the favorable side of Volcanic Offering and then slam them on the backside for 7. Didn't feel quite right, so that's just, you know, the politics of it. But other than that, yeah, I feel like the deck's in a pretty good spot now. So I made a few changes to the deck. I'll cut over to that right now, but overall I think it's in a pretty good spot. Okay, so looking at this Morophon Elementals list, there's a couple things I think that need to happen just so that this deck can ensure success. One of the things I'm looking at right here, I'm looking at the 5 converted mana cost slot. It's a little bit crowded, especially considering there are a decent number of higher costed creatures in the deck. You've got 6 things at 6 mana, which is about normal, but 5 at 7 is a bit. You got 1 8-drop in the deck. You got a Great Henge, although you probably won't pay full price for that. So, there's a little bit of heft up here at the top end. That being the case, you don't also want to have a ton of 5-drops in the deck. It's just going to be super clunky, and it's going to be really slow and all that kind of stuff. Like, you need other things to do also. And right now, this deck is really lacking on removal, so that's something that we want to fix. So having played the deck one time already, I've gotten a feel on kind of some of the things that need to happen. Also, just kind of looking at it using my own experience. We definitely need to trim down these 5-drops a little bit. I think Cavalier of Thorns, as cool as it is going to be one of the least useful, as well as Zendikar's Royal. Zendikar's Royal, really good, but probably needs to be in a landfall deck. In a deck where it's not supported, I don't think it's super exciting. Like, it's fine. It's definitely not bad, but when you talk about having a lot of powerful 5-drops already, something's got to go, and I think that's the best one. The other cards in the deck are really good, so those I definitely don't want to get rid of. The cost reduction on Thrix, also that can't be countered, pretty sweet. And just all these things, lots of value on all these cards, just great cards. So one thing I actually felt like as I was playing the first game with this deck is that I almost kind of wanted a Horde of Notions in the command zone. Morophon is cool, but I feel like Horde of Notions gives you more. That ability to reanimate from your command zone means that if you go late in a game, you are just going to be favored unless someone exiled the graveyard, because being able to get stuff back is just really powerful. It can't be overstated just how good that is, and Morophon doesn't give you that. It gives you other cool things, but for some reason I just had this feeling like I really want to be on Horde of Notions as the commander, and I think it would be a pretty easy switch, and there's, other things you could do, but even if you didn't like fully optimizing for the commander switch, I still think it's going to be very good. So that's something that I would probably do. I also like that Horde of Notions is just a little bit cheaper mana-wise, though it's more color-intensive. Morophon at 7 can be tough to get going. I know there's ramp, but some games you just don't draw the ramp on time, so it's not like you're going to be looking at a turn 4 Morophon every game. So just some thoughts on that. Not that you have to, but I felt like I really just liked what Horde of Notions gives you out of the command zone, that repeatable get stuff from your graveyard. Some other things that I wasn't in love with in the deck. Incandescent Soulstoke, it's an Anthem, and that's cool, and it has a sneak attack type effect for elemental creatures. That wasn't doing much for me. This is the type of thing where if you switch Horde of Notions to the command zone, this gets a lot better because you can get your stuff back easily. But for all the other creatures, I felt like I really want them to stay in play. So I'm going to drop the Incandescent Soulstoke. And I get it, the Anthem is good, but it's not necessarily game-breaking, and that was also the same way that I felt about this Creeping Trailblazer. If we were doing kind of like a more low-curve aggro type of thing, I could see going with those, but the fact that we've got a lot of big beefy things up here at the top means you're going to have like 2 or 3 big creatures that are really impactful, but probably not go super wide where Anthems really make a lot of sense. So I'm not going to play an Anthem in this deck for the sake of playing an Anthem. I'll play an Anthem when it comes on something cool, like this Vanquisher's Banner. Also gives you the card draw, which is nice. So that was kind of the feeling I was getting, and I did feel like this deck was short on removal big time, so that's something that I want to get in here. We've got a couple card slots to work with. So these slots can be a lot of different things. It just depends on what you have around, but I'm just going to go for some classics right here. Love myself a Blasphemous Act. Love myself an Austere Command. We've got a Kindred Dominance already. So we've got 3 traditional board wipes right there. That's still a little light. Like, maybe go for like a Merciless Eviction. Nope, we've already got Merciless Eviction. There's one in the deck. Okay, so that brings us to 4 traditional board wipes. I'm thinking about like a Volcanic Offering because I just love Volcanic Offering, but the mana's a little bit crowded right here. You can also go for like a Windgrace's Judgment. Maybe you'll go in that way instead. A little bit less narrow. Doesn't help our 5-mana situation any, but Windgrace's Judgment isn't something you're necessarily going to play right on turn 5, but it is a really good card. So it's going to help out a bit more with the removal. Take a peek at our artifact and enchantment removal. So that's 1, 2, 3 with the Austere Command. Are there any elementals that blow up that stuff? Wisp-Mare. Wisp-Mare does it. Oh, we've got an Aura Shards. Aura Shards is very good for that type of thing. Take a peek at the ramp real quick. See if we need to add another piece of ramp. We've got 15 pieces of ramp. We've got what? That's 2 mana doublers. Lots of multi-producing ramps, so I think we're okay there. You could add another piece if you wanted to, but I think in the name of trying to get other effects into the deck, I think that's going to be pretty good. Feel pretty good about that. Take a peek at this curve again with the changes. Still love to drop another 5-drop here. Here's the thing that I'll do a lot when I'm looking at things. So we've got this Yarok in our deck. Cool elemental, but the question I have is how many things can actually trigger it? Like how many things does it actually impact in the deck? So let me just do a little count right here. There are 9 things that it interacts with. I didn't count Bane of Progress because it's kind of redundant. So that's okay. That's like really kind of scraping towards the bottom of what I'd like to see. If it was like 12 to 15, I'd be much happier with it. But I think it makes a case of why you could cut it. However, the one thing is that like Omnath and Risen Reef are really insane if you start getting those double triggers going. So that's kind of the one thing that might make me keep it in. You know, if you get it going with those two, you're going to have a pretty good time. Shared Summons would be a really cool card for this deck. It is 5 mana, and I don't want to add another 5-drop, but that is certainly something you could add in there. I think this deck does want one creature tutor in it. I know it's a slippery slope, like you can jam a million tutors and anything, but I think having access to one tutor in this deck is going to do a lot of good things. So I'm going to go for Eldamri's right here. So add an Eldamri's Call. That just gives us the ability to dig for the creature we need most. And there's a lot of different things you could use in that slot, but I know that that one's pretty cheap to get a hold of in paper. So you could use that. If you trim the 5-drops back just a little bit, you could go Shared Summons and go for 2, which is really cool. The other thing I felt like we just needed some sort of like mass reanimation. You could go for Living Death. I'm going to go for Rise of the Dark Realms. Just gives us a nice insurance policy in case everything goes wrong. I'm going to cut a Negate. I like Swan Song. I like Mana Drain. I'm not a huge counterspell guy. I don't think you need to run tons and tons of counterspells unless there are a ton of counterspells in your meta. And or you need to stop big spells a lot. So, you know, kind of feel that out. If you're in a more combo heavy meta, then you don't need creature removal as much, but... Oh, there's also a Pact of Negation as well. So, you know, that's 3 counterspells right there to get rid of the big spell. And that's all I'm really looking to do with the counterspells. I'm not trying to counter everything under the sun, is my general take. So I generally prefer permanent removal and then, you know, like 1 or 2 counters just to make sure you can stop a Torment of Hailfire. So I've done a couple things here. One, with Windgrace's Judgment and Austere Command, not only is that removal, but that's also ways to get rid of artifacts and enchantments, which is important. You had the Aura Shards, which you started with, which is great when you find it. But, you know, if you don't find it, then it's just not going to do anything for you. So I'm not recommending run 1,000 tutors. 1, they're expensive, and 2, they can make the game a little bit less fun. The game will become very repetitive. So in that case, just adding a few more things that can also deal with artifacts and enchantments if you need them to. I guess you've got the Bane of Progress also. So there's a few ways in there to be able to deal with those things. And I've talked about it a bunch. I like removal that's really broad. Hits a lot of different things, so that's good stuff. We've got the Rise of the Dark Realms. Gives us a way just to get stuff back if the game goes long, if we lose a bunch of cool things, if there's a mill opponent at the table, all those kinds of things. I feel like the ramp is pretty good. I wouldn't mind seeing another 4-drop in the deck. It's pretty light. If we could find something cool that would like shift from 5 mana down to 4, that would be really sweet. Actually, you want what we can do? We could get rid of the Vanquisher's Banner and go for like... Actually, double check the power on everything real quick. So Team Ascendancy is haste and power 4 or greater. Let's just do a little double check for power 4 or greater. Not any of those. Actually, you know what I want? So I think there's enough card draw in this deck. Let's just do a little card draw pile here. See what we're looking at. Yeah, there's quite a bit of card draw at 9 pieces, so we could think about getting rid of the Vanquisher's Banner. Is it good? Yes, it's good. But you've got a lot of 5-drops, you've got a lot of expensive stuff. The question is, how many big things can you reasonably, like, cast and draw in a turn? Like, yeah, it's a great card, and it's great for tribal decks, but I think we can actually live without it. And... I want to add a little more finishing punch to the deck. I think that's one thing that is actually missing in this moment. So I'm going to add one of my new favorite cards. Not that the card's new, but my love for it is new. And that's Mob Rule. You could use Insurrection also. But, you know, I like Mob Rule just because the casting cost is a little bit lower. And it's just a great way to, like, open up some channels for attacks. If things get really crowded, there's just a lot of creatures on board. Okay, scoop them all up and go on mini Insurrection. And then... you know, you can probably take at least 1 player out of the game, if not 2 or more. So it just gives a little finishing punch to the deck, which I like. And if you wanted to, you could put a lot of things in this slot too, like a True Conviction would not be terrible. I like Mob Rule for the fact that it removes blockers, which is great. Without trying to change too much, I think this is good for now. Most of these changes are relatively inexpensive. I haven't seen what Austere Command has come down to since the reprint, but in general, this shouldn't run too much in paper. So, but I think it does clean up just a few issues I had with the deck, the 5 converted mana cost slot being a little crowded, and just kind of like we needed access to a few other effects, I think. So this gives us a few nice things to go to, but certainly many different options that you could use for the cards that I slotted in. But I think it's more about getting some utility and better removal were the keys here. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. Hey guys, in addition to my TCG affiliate player link, I now have an affiliate link with Flipside Gaming, an LGS from my hometown. You can use the promo code REPLAY to save 10% on your next order over $10. Both affiliate links are in the description below. The 2020 GoFundMe is active. If you want to do one-on-one deck reviews with me, or get one of your decks played on video, be sure to check out the link in the description below. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. We have one new Patreon supporter in Kellen Bachman. Kellen, you are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and join an awesome Discord community, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below.